everybody. Welcome back to PSGL. George Morgan here, your commentator, alongside me, TK, who is going to be rounding off the season with me.
Down the inside.
Absolutely impossible scene.
This is for the win between these two.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
He needs to get it done now.
Blakey will dive to the inside.
We're robust. We got our elbows out.
Ronar takes the lead.
Because here comes Alfie Butcher.
Can't really complain with that one.
It's not going to be easy. The pressure is on, of course.
Jarno Watmere is your champion.
Well, hello everybody and welcome back. Once again, we're here on your screens for some Monday Evening Manners here at Premier Sim Gaming Leagues. This is the PlayStation side, the top tier of the console platform, and we're here for round number 8 of season 42. Just 3 races left in this season, just 3 races left on the F125 ground effect era, because we know the DLC is going to be coming very shortly indeed, and we could have the championship decided tonight. First time the championship can be decided tonight. There is a big advantage at the summit. We'll go through all of that and the stipulations in due course. But first and foremost, in commentary corner, once again, myself, Tom Wilson. Alongside me is ducking below his camera at the moment. It is Logan Skelton. Logan, what are you searching for?
You don't want to know. No, I'm just putting my controller down. Yes, we have 3 rounds to go and the championship could be determined tonight. Our current leader is Snats. He has been on quite the run recently, as I am still trying to set up my notes because I've just arrived from... Well, I've not arrived from work, I've arrived from a nice walk. Because we all need a bit of a walk. Alright, no. Snats is 26 points ahead of Silo. If the gap is 34 or more, actually 35 tonight, Snats will be the champion. He can do that tonight by scoring 9 points more than Dirk, and 15 points more. 9 points more than Silo, and 15 points more than Dirk. There are only 4 drivers that can win the championship. Van de Geest is well out of reach, almost. Dirk and Silo are fighting for second place, it seems. They're on 58 and 52 respectively. Melwin and Polymaki are tied at 5th and 6th for... actually, it should be Polymaki ahead of Melwin. That's not correct. They are on... Oh no, it is correct, sorry. Melwin ahead of Polymaki on countback for 5th place. 3 rounds to go. Belgium, Abu Dhabi and Saudi. It's Belgium first. You know where we're going. The famous track that is Nivelles. No, I'm only kidding. Nobody ever wants to go to that again. We are going to, of course, Spa-Francorchamps.
Zolder.
Track. Shush. You know what happened at Zolder in 82, right?
Do you know what happened at Zolder in 82?
Yes, we'll not go there. Spa-Francorchamps, actually.
Yes. Spa.
Yeah.
Legendary
Spa-Francorchamps.
Spa-Francorchamps. We do know it and love it, especially since it got updated in the F1 game a few years ago. But yeah, championship-wise, Snacks is yet to finish outside the top 5. Has been so consistent so far. Only finished off the podium twice. But Silo is the form horse. We have to bear that in mind. Only competed 4 times this season. The last 4 races, won 3 of them. So is the form horse going into the stretch, but needs quite the miracle to try and overturn that 26-point deficit, as Logan so rightly told us.
Can be done.
It can be done. It's not impossible, and he will keep going until it's mathematically impossible. Armateo was a very decent shout as well from a few seasons back. We look at the constructors also, though. The constructors is a much closer run thing. Mercedes double DNS last week, so they're pretty much out of the equation. But Williams and Red Bull separated by just 6 points. Williams on 95, Red Bull with Silo charging on 89. The problem for them is Max von der Geest, who you said 4th in the championship, could still win it. He's actually not here tonight. So that means we are down to 3.
No.
Realistically, just 1 championship contender. But the constructors is hotting up. Red Bull have the form, but they are missing one of their key drivers tonight. And that is going to be a big hammer blow, considering Von der Geest has been pretty consistent so far. A couple of podium finishes to his name. Silo, of course, has been absolutely outstanding in recent weeks. What we should do, though, you mentioned the calendar, you mentioned the circuit we're going to now. Let's have a quick gander at the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. You know it, you love it. Mix of heavy braking zones, the middle sector, absolutely outstanding. Once you find the rhythm, it is beautiful to drive. But, as we always know in the Ardennes Forest, rain is never too far away.
Yeah, don't remind them of 2021, please. But yes, rain can really be quite common around here. We are in the middle of a forest, not a rainforest, but still a forest. It's just as vulnerable to rain as any other forest. Of course, this is not, of course, the layout it used to be. Back in my grandfather's day, or my great-grandfather's day, this track was 15 kilometers long, and then it was back down to 14 kilometers. So it was double the distance it is now. It is the longest track on the calendar. Still, at 7,004 meters, it means it is 4 meters above the recommended limit for how long a Formula 1 track should be. If you look at the blooming FIA regulations and track guidelines, there is a minimum of 3.5, and Monaco misses out by 1/6 for a kilometer. But they still allow it because, you know, it's Monaco.
They with
It
Spa,
gets
though.
away with everything. Yeah.
And it is an interesting one because they're probably the two most legendary circuits in F1, and neither of them would actually get admitted if they were brought to the forefront these days, which I think is quite an interesting thing to look at. We've gone through the championship, we've gone through the circuit. We do, though, need to have a little chat about whether you want to get faster or not. You want to get faster on the F125 game, right? Logan's going to disappear because he knows what's coming. Make sure, linked in the description of this stream, Sim Racing Setups. Everybody unlock extra performance with their Pro F125 car setups. They're created and developed by the drivers you see week in, week out here at PSGL. Esports and stable setups for every single circuit are available, whether it's qualifying or the race you're struggling with, dry or wet weather, or even just race strategies. They've got everything you could absolutely need. And of course, free meta setup updates as well. That will be important when the DLC drops, whenever it does in the next couple of months. All available for £49.99 at simracingsetup.com. And you've got a delightful discount code of PSGL that you can apply at checkout for a supreme 5% discount. 5% off your purchase. Absolutely lovely, isn't it, Logan? Oh, what are you doing there?
That's the British Grand Prix program.
Is that from 2023?
Yeah.
The
The one Lando Norris led for like 3 laps.
It was
and
fun
then
while
Verstappen
it lasted,
probably-
though.
Yeah, the crowd cheering was deafening, but that was then. It was more deafening when Hamilton won, to be fair, the next year, because obviously he's a god in Britain. Everyone treats him like a god in Britain.
Yeah, that's true. It's understandable, though. Arguably, one of the greatest sportsmen to come out of the United Kingdom
Yeah,
of
it's
Great
not
Britain.
Just 'cause he's British. Not just because he's British.
I feel like
We
there's a
all
little
hold
bit of
Schumacher in high regard after '94, obviously.
Yeah, after 94 and 97.
And 06 in Monaco.
06, yes, parking it at Rascasse. Save. What was the banner that came up on Sunday? Parking charge 21 places or something, which I thought was pretty funny and pretty
That
creative.
was brilliant. As a Schumi, a guy that grew up idolizing Schumi, I thought that was quite funny.
Would you say that Schumacher is the greatest? Is he the GOAT in your eyes?
Well, I grew up watching him, so probably yeah, but that has almost changed. If Lewis Hamilton wins the World Championship with Ferrari, he will be my greatest of all time. Because I've watched his career throughout ever since his first
Fair enough.
race.
Yeah, I think that is fair
I prefer
enough.
Charles Leclerc anyway.
Oh, don't get into that debate. But welcome in, everybody. We are just a few minutes away from qualifying. 19 cars have signed up for this one, so the attendance back on track after a few weeks of slightly underwhelming attendance from the drivers. But we're ready to go, and we're going to have a decent turnout around Spa today. If you are new, 18-minute qualifying session first of all, then a 50% race. That will be 22 laps of the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. If we do get a bit of rain, that will spice things up immensely as well, and we always love that little bit of drama. 17 points available as a maximum, 51 available for the remaining 3 rounds, so that is where that 26-point advantage for Snacks. We're getting into the territory now where he's finished in the top 5 every race, but he can probably finish as low as 7th, maybe even 8th in the final 3 races and still have a bit of a buffer.
Yeah. Definitely. We are just waiting for everyone to filter in. Again, 19 drivers!
Who would have thought it?
Yeah, but then again, this is Spa. I feel it will be for Abu Dhabi, which is understandably not as favoured as much.
Abu Dhabi on the game, have to say, Abu Dhabi on the game, much better than Abu Dhabi in real life. And we know what happens at Jeddah as well when us two are commentating. So lock in, everybody.
Well, I'm waiting for Kadir. That's going to be fun.
It'd be fun as well to see how they manage to
Oh, they'll do it. They've got
add it
the
into
tech.
the game. I mean, that's gonna take up a lot of power. I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah, that's why I got a new PC today. I've been using Macs for years. I blame my parents; they got it for me for Christmas. But I'm going to be. This is an announcement. I am planning to jump to PC. I'll still be on PlayStation, but I am planning to go to PC next year, next season.
Next season, Logan.
So
Expanding
watch this
out
space.
from PlayStation to PC. Hello to
Never know.
people joining us. Coda, welcome in. Hopefully you are doing good on this Monday evening or Monday afternoon or Monday morning, wherever you find yourself situated on this wonderful planet we call
On
Earth.
DJ.
Great, thank you for
I'm
that
watching it from the moon. What are you telling me? I'm on this secret mission that's gone to the moon. Nobody knows about it. You hear that, Artemis 2?
one. Well, we were talking about that
This is
last
a
week,
green
weren't
screen.
we? Because it was right in the thick of what was going on, and you were very excited about the goings on out in outer space.
They're back home now. Congratulations
Yeah.
to them. We Europeans are not worthy. We haven't been since 1969 when the Americans landed on the moon, obviously. And again, to be fair, they're on our own side. And that was the first year Jackie Stewart won the World Championship. So a
Good
great year all round.
knowledge. Good knowledge. I would expect you to know that as a Scotsman,
mean-
to be fair.
Yeah, I applied for Mastermind. For those of you who have been in the know, I was on Countdown. A little humble brag. I won the teapot. And I applied for Mastermind. And I put Formula 1 in the 2000s as my specialist subject. I've also put Robot Wars. Because they should bring it back.
We had a chat about
Stick
Robot Wars
middle
before
finger
we
to the
started.
BBC.
2000 is
Yeah.
interesting. I actually think, even though I
I
probably prefer the 2000s, my knowledge of the 2010s I would think is probably better.
Oh,
my knowledge of the
I need to be more
2000s.
obscure. I hope they don't make it obscure as like,
Who
what
finished
was the name of
16th in the 2005
They won't do that. They won't
German
do that.
Grand Prix? Was it German? Yeah, it was Hockenheim.
It'd be
at
something
that
like,
point.
which driver crashed into the wall at the Singapore Grand Prix and was later found to have been doing it intentionally? And obviously that's Nelson Piquet Jr., but that's a story for another day. We are getting underway. We are readying up as we see all the ticks, the boxes being ticked. As you know, that will be the sign they are readying up in the lobby. Of course, we're going to have 18 minutes of qualifying. And we are going to have a 22 lap race because, of course, it is 152.5 kilometers, half of a regular Grand Prix distance because, of course, we have a short attention span. No, it's obviously to make the game more exciting. We prefer half distance. It's just the Goldilocks distance, in my opinion. Of course, in the F1 esports, they're criminally doing 35%. And even 25% at some points for the challengers, but 50% is the sweet spot. 100% would be here all day. I mean, we could have an Ironman and go 200% if you want.
Oh, maybe not. I've done a lot of 100% commentaries on F1 games and F1 games
No, it's
gone
fun.
by. The strategy element is much more exciting. That's what I would say, because we do usually get that proper balance between the 1 and the 2 stop on 100%. Obviously, it takes a while, and there are only certain people that are willing to do the full 100% race, especially when you team that with full qualifying as well. That takes quite a while. People looking out for 3 of our drives on the grid. What esports stable are you? Are you gentlemen or females? Ladies and gentlemen. I forgot what the other word was then. Are you part of? Then we can try and we can look out. We can see who you're watching for and who you're cheering for. Make us or let us know. ST. Okay.
I'm
Interesting.
cheering for PSGL because we are on PSGL.
Thank you for that, Logan.
Because you have to be neutral.
We do have to be
Of
neutral,
course.
and to be fair, I don't have any
Yeah.
ties to any esports setups. No, I can be as completely neutral and as aggressive towards anybody that I so choose. And people that
Oh,
are
it's not
regular
looking
viewers of
good.
this know that is usually what happens. We have loaded in 19 is the magic number, as we were hoping for. Yes, we will. We'll switch over, and like you said, weather looking fairly overcast. Some angry skies just over the distance there, over the top of those trees in the middle of the beautiful Ardennes forest. 18 minutes, as we have said already. And you are correct with that comment in the chat. I'm just not allowed to say it out loud. But you are correct that you have seen me on that. Logan, you look confused. Good evening, Simona, for jumping in. We're getting ready for qualifying. Hopefully you're having a lovely time. Couple of minutes in. If you're interested in the championship situation, if you have just joined us, it is Snacks with a 26-point advantage with 3 races left to go. But the person chasing him down is Silo, who's won 3 of the last 4 and finished 3rd in that race that he didn't win. So the form is with the Red Bull driver, but it is the Williams with the big points buffer. Phil, we're cheering on the McLarens with Ollie Hornby. Name I definitely recognise. Seb and Phil. Phil returning after a holiday. That's the way we like to put it. A holiday for a couple of weeks after some interesting goings-on in Zandvoort a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, we won't mention it, but unfortunately he was given a suspension, a 2-race suspension. But he is back tonight. He's got a clean slate now, and he's getting on. Everyone's going out. They think it's going to rain. Well, this might be the shortest qualifying session ever. Strap in. We are going on board, I believe, with one of the Red Bulls, the
Silo.
Red Bull Fords. It is Silo. He is the one leading the pack. Will be the first to set a lap. Do we really have to go through Spa-Francorchamps? I think everyone, especially us hardcores, know what Spa-Francorchamps is, right?
The majority of us, I would expect, will know Spa like the back of our hands, whether it's just from doing so many laps or watching so many laps. It is one of the best circuits to drive, especially since we got that circuit update, the laser scan circuit update. I believe it was for the previous game of F1 24. I think we had that big update. But Silo into the bus stop chicane now, going to try and set this line up to punch it out of the final corner and try and set the benchmark. Usually so strong over one lap is Silo. We'll see if that translates into the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. Almost putting a wheel on the grass there in the run down into La Source, using all of the track space that he could possibly find, and now pulling gears out of it as Melwin has left the session. That is unideal for the Mercedes driver. And Logan, I think you're going to have to do some work straight away to get him back in as we go up through Eau Rouge and Radion and onto the Kemmel Straight with Silo. DRS flap wide open. I thought there was a car there on the inside getting out of the way, but we do not have that. It is a 30.1 for the first set to split. Couple of tenths maybe to find when they're really pushing the extremities of the track at the latter stages of qualifying, and into Rivage. Big lock up there on the front right. This is a really clumsy corner. Feels like an endlessly long right-hander. Left-hand tyre overheating as you put the load through it, and then this is the best part of the circuit. You fly through No Name, chuck it in, and do the same. Throw it into Puon. I was going to say double No Name there. Into Puon. Oh, the back of the... Sorry, I got the names wrong, but to be fair, if you look at the track maps, nobody seems to know what corner is which. This is the Fanier chicane as far as I'm concerned. Some people like to say it's campus, and then we head down towards Stavelo. Curb on the outside can really unsettle the car, and then up towards Corporal Frere.
Yep, and then it's through Blanchiment, and then, you know, the figure, the bus stop chicane. I know the name, I just can't say it correctly because I'm horrible at this. Which has been shot and changed several times. Right now it is a double hairpin. Not really a chicane, a double hairpin. Well, I think it's a double hairpin. It looks like it on the screen, but he's out of the final corner. It feels like a double hairpin. A 1:40.302. Yes, this track is long, but it is one of the fastest. I thought they were going to bring back MotoGP to this track and have the start on the other side like they do with the Spa 24 Hours.
That would be an interesting one. Otsuzito returning as a reserve once again, second fastest. Reigning champion Vola Kongen goes third. Max Bricker in the final sector at the moment. Couple of tenths down on where he needs to be, but I want to pick up the championship leader who's barreling up towards Blanchiment now. Silo still with the fastest time. Ahead of Lorenz returning in the Alpine. Didn't qualify a week ago, courtesy of a qualifying ban. Otsuzito, Polymaki and Escoca Levy, your top 5, separated by just under a third of a second. Dirk now slots in there. Back of the car stepping out for Snacks through the first part of the bus stop, and up to the beam we go. Is this the fastest time? Yes, by 5 milliseconds. The championship leader displaces the Hunter, and Snacks and Silo once again continuing their battle right at the sharp end. The exclusive battle it's been between the pair of them in the last few weeks.
Yeah, and that's pretty much like the real Formula 1, isn't it? No. Sometimes that happens. Yeah, no, like 2 competitors for the race, not Williams and Red Bull. That was pretty much 2015, but if you didn't have Mercedes, because I miss them Williams If only they were that good now, that Latifi would be on pole position. Okay, no.
Maybe not.
No,
Maybe
no.
not. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, everybody. But the two McLarens on their return haven't started off brilliantly. Both of them in the 41s, slowest as things stand. Melwin, of course, with that disconnect earlier on, needs to get back in the session. Going to be limited to 2 runs rather than the 3. And because this is such a long circuit, it's less of an issue now because the cars are so fast. But previously and on previous games, there was a risk that if you timed it slightly wrong, you wouldn't be able to get those 3 runs in because you were just up against it ever so slightly, Kurt. Coming against the clock, if you will.
That's true. Because of this track being longer, your in laps and out laps will pretty much be just as long, or not, if not longer. It's, of course, all that tire saving, and you might not be able to get 3 runs. I've seen some people just do 2 runs. At some shorter tracks like A1, Red Bull Ring, you could do 4, maybe even 5 if you want, but the only time you're going to do more than 3 laps here is if it is raining, because of course it would be a waste if you didn't use those intermediates to the max. So we are through the first round of laps. Only Melvin has not been able to set a lap because he disconnected, so that's good to see. Everyone has set a lap.
Yeah,
Well,
and
it's too invalid anyway, unless it's Rouge or Radion. Actually.
yeah, track limits are usually one where if you're just getting a little bit too overzealous with it and pushing those track limits a little bit too hard, that's when you can fall off the circuit. Like you said, up through Rouge and Radion, really trying to straight line it as much as you possibly can. The Les Combes chicane as well, just carrying a bit too much speed, chopping off at the apex. Other than that, maybe Blanchimont if you carry a bit too much speed there, but again, track limits shouldn't be something we're talking about too often in this one. Looking at the skies, we're approaching the halfway point in this qualifying session. Still looks quite angry. Some quite aggressive clouds. There is no blue sky in sight. Whether we're going to get rain, I don't know. I think there would be maybe a bit more urgency from the drivers if we were going to see rain. That's the only thing I would say. And we probably would have a message from somebody as well that we're going to see rain.
Yeah. I'm on board with Melvin, who is yet to set a time. He was first out. Of course, it'll be the best time to go out quickly now. But yes, 3 rounds to go. I'm almost very sad it is ending because, of course, it's been a fun season. It's been, well, actually, you've been away a couple of races, haven't you?
I did. What did I miss? I missed round 2 and 3. Rain in 20 minutes. There we go. Thank you for jumping in and telling us that one, our pitch strategists and our weather reporters. Rain in 20. If it's rain in 20, that's not going to cause too many dramas. If it's earlier than that, then maybe we'll have some filling to do at the end of the session, but I find it unlikely. And if it's going to be wet for the race, can you tell us that as well? That'd be lovely for everybody to hear too. Rain in 5. Wow.
Keep it secret. Wait, whoa, and Lawrence on his outlap has went off Pouhon. Don't do that. At least if you do that, your tyres are going to have a bit of a trouble on the actual lap you're going for. Here's a flying lap from Melvin. Around Les Sources, which was, I believe, lengthened for the 2007 Redux. And then, of course, Eau Rouge and Radion, which were redone in 2022. After that race, we won't mention, as we know this one, Verstappen went from last to first, basically, because Verstappen. Melvin coming down to Les Combes. Apologies if my French accent is horrendously offensive. And then down to, I believe is it Brussels?
Rivage. Brussels or
Rivage.
Brussels? Rivage, yeah. Depends.
Right, I'll go Rivage then. That's probably more confident.
Depends where you come from.
Then to No Name, which now has a motorcycle layout for safety reasons. You don't want to go smacking into the wall at those speeds, do you?
No, especially around a
Why
circuit like this. Old school circuit where you've got grass, you've got gravel, you've got trees lining around the circuit as well. But this looks really hooked up, to be fair, from Owen Efferman. Hustling that car. Oh,
yeah, he is a hustler. It looks like Lewis Hamilton with that helmet on too. Actually, I think it is Lewis Hamilton's helmet. Yes, it is. So it's like a throwback. He's done a job swap for the day. Coming to Blanchimont, where you'll be going full throttle towards the bus stop. Not sure about next year's cars or this year's whatever. To the bus stop chicane, and it passes all the cars letting him through. Of course, the gentleman's agreement. And this looks pretty solid. How high it's going to be, we will know when they cross the timing beam. 8th place. Just below Escoca Levy and above his stablemate, Max Brickup.
Silo should lower the benchmark. Scruffy second half of the lap for Melwin Efferman, but Silo to the line takes back what he feels is rightfully his.
Boom.
40.1. And if there is rain coming in less than 5 minutes, these are going to be the laps that will count. If it's raining now, Snacks could be stuffed here. Coming up towards Rivage now. We'll watch the times fly in. Karov going through Pouon. There's a Williams in the wall. That must be the other one. So that's got to be Jaden, who's had a whoopsie out there. Maybe track conditions getting tricky already. Snacks wide through No Name, dipping that rear right tyre in the gravel. Are the track conditions deteriorating this quickly? Is this going to be Stylo stealing a march on his rivals, getting out there early and taking pole position away from the man? He's trying desperately to hunt down in the championship. Grip definitely deteriorating. Tentative through the Fania chicane. Owie down as we come up through Stavolo. We'll get the delta time. It is down by a quarter of a second. That's probably that.
I bet Silo is singing a Weather Girl song right now. I'm sure that is not going to be topped. Silo, right at the very end of the dry condition stint, gets an out of this world time of 140, 144, nearly an illiterate one there. As Snats knows that he cannot improve and everyone's going to have to retire from the session. I would imagine it's not going to improve here. Let's hope they take a gentleman's agreement and all retire from the session, because I don't see it's going to improve after this. Well, you may never know. The other drivers will try and get up the order though, I think. I don't think there's actually been any improvements. Let me just check race director.
I don't think we saw anybody find time either. Apart from, obviously, Melwin got the lap in. Silo was the last over the line, I think, to not be affected by the weather. That's why the two McLarens still down the order. Two Aston Martins a little bit out of position as well. Same with White Sheep. And, of course, reigning champion Volakongan jumping back in. Only his second race of the season. Was competitive last week in Singapore. But, again, another driver that will find themselves, you would think, slightly out of position.
Yeah, I think enough is enough here. Everyone is realising they are not going to improve. We've lost Volakongan, who is the reigning champion, of course. And Lawrence has done donuts in Bonchemont, and he's reset the track, which is technically illegal, but not in qualifying, because obviously it didn't affect it. Snacks is not going to get it. I think we are done here, folks. So, still going to have drivers doing laps, but that was one of the quickest qualifying sessions I remember.
Yes. We've managed to absolutely race through that with 1.5 flying laps, technically 2 for Silo. Most drivers not able to find that improvement, but that is that. Once again, it's Silo and Snacks commandeering the front row. 10th.5 separating the pair of them. Lawrence P3 from Otsazito and Polly Mackie. Dirk with a decent lap. Skoka Levy finding himself in 7th ahead of Melwin, Max Bricker and Tico. The two Saubers and Volakongan, probably the biggest losers out of that, usually residing inside the top 5. Good one-lap pace for all three of them. Then you've got Jaden, Matt, the two Aston Martins of Zane and Ray Wintz, Leggy, and then the McLarens in the 41s of Phil and Seed. I think Seed did actually get a second flying lap in, because I'm pretty sure he was on a 41.5. But
yeah, at least they're starting the race.
True, yes. We've all got some concerns, haven't we, when we think about Spa and we think about rain from a few years back. 5 years ago now. That's crazy that race is nearly 5 years ago.
It should never have awarded points. I'm sorry. It wouldn't have made a difference. Max would still won the title anyway. And,
what would the gap have been? Do you know?
The gap would have been, so it was 7.5 points. Let's see, 12. It was the last race they used the half points. It was 5, so he would have won it by 3 points.
Did he get fastest lap as well? I'm guessing. Lawrence is out there on the Inters.
Do you know who the fastest lap was?
In Abu Dhabi?
No, in Spa.
Oh, yes. But are we allowed to say his name?
I mean, it's not like he's been convicted of heinous crimes, other than pretty much ruining the spirit of F1.
Nikita Mazepin got the fastest lap,
Yes.
the one and only of his career. He
What
could
a
come back,
driver.
but I'm fairly sure he's not going to.
What a driver. No, we won't mention why. I think we all know why.
'Cause he wasn't very good.
Not because he wasn't very good. He wasn't sacked for that reason. Because of that, it was for the better though. Now we've got Ollie Behrman, who's finished P4 and P5 in races. In 2021, he scored a total of 0. Great spot.
The fact that Lawrence, by the way, is out on circuit on these inters probably says to me that it's not going to rain in the race. Because would you want to burn up a set of intermediate tyres when you haven't got that many anyway? It's not like we've got places to be, everybody. We're obviously we're trying to get practicing. Ray Wintz is out there on the soft compound tyres. Yeah.
He's obviously hoping for a miracle. Kind of like when, Kevin Magnussen got the pole. Oh, yeah, because of Mazepin, Magnussen happened and he got the pole. I remember watching Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and they thought Kevin Magnussen was a chess player.
Oh,
luckily he got it correct because it was about which of these players is not a professional tennis player, and of course Kevin Magnussen isn't a driver. He was thinking of Magnus Carlsen, obviously. Yeah. What is Lawrence doing?
He's going for a flying
Lawrence,
lap on
ladies
the
and
Inters.
gentlemen.
Going for a flying lap.
The Tyson Fury of this league, I'd say. He's a showman. I watched the Tyson Fury fight. It was probably the easiest win of his career. No offense.
Was that last night?
That was Saturday.
I was watching the golf.
Oh yeah, I was watching the golf too. Wow. Yes. Rory again.
I was disappointed though because, I mean, I apologise. Yes, I did. I apologise to people that have no interest in golf. I am a golf fan, and I can freely admit that it is incredibly boring, incredibly dull, and most people that like golf are dullards. However,
Formula One,
snooker. To be fair, snooker.
Snooker's a brilliant sport. I mean, especially in China right now.
Booming.
Sorry
Lawrence,
for waffling. We can't really do much else.
It's turned into a podcast now as we wait for Lawrence to complete this slow lap. A 52-second first sector. Wow, that's fast. Ray Wintz is only down. Oh no, actually that was up to the line. Ray Wintz. How are the track conditions, my friend? We're down by half a second. Not too bad, to be fair. This is where
we have a problem. Gosh. PlayStation F1, ladies and gentlemen. Jarno Otmir, Isaac Hadjar, all competed in it. Like, for a couple of races, Hadjar was in it, and he was on Esports Challengers as well. And then he somehow got into Formula One's Red Bull team. And Jarno Otmir hasn't. What a failure.
Oh, here we go with Lawrence and Ray Wintz doing the reverse entry drift down the hill into Pool.
Ray Wintz has done a Lance Stroll. He's bumped it in the gravel. And it matches the car anyway, so, time is up on the session.
Lawrence unsurprisingly getting some stick from some of the drivers who are not best pleased with that one. Matt jumping in. Rain. The rain wasn't ideal. Cut short our qualifying session. Do we have rain for the race, though? That's going to be interesting. Lawrence and Ray will be in the stewards' room. Lawrence usually finds himself in the stewards' room at the end of every single race, to be fair. So, I mean, he's got his own personal seat in there.
You know what happened?
Through the polystyrene advertising boards.
You know what? I heard the sound. It was this.
Thank you.
Did you hear that?
I did hear it. I don't know if it came through on the stream, but I certainly heard
must
it.
have.
Must have gone through.
It is an oof.
On the Discord, as we wait for Lawrence to cruise it round in first gear,
Yay.
with quite clearly all the time in the world. Still got 2 minutes to get through this bus stop chicane. Was the rain? It didn't actually.
What is he doing?
It's just trying to set a hot lap. What are you talking about? Conditions are treacherous. That's why he's going so slowly. Got to keep it safe, you know.
Yeah, but you do remember this is a video game and the track. These are intermediate, sir.
I have it on good authority that I have been commentating on a race where there was a lobby disconnect. The host disconnected, the screen went black, but the force feedback stayed on and one of the drivers dislocated their thumb. So we say sim racing's not got its dangers, but maybe
what is he? He's going to get disqualified for blocking the pit lane.
Does need to be careful, to be fair. He's lucky that he didn't get any illegal blocking either, because that's quite obvious. But he is back in the pits with a lap time off. 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Is he Logan? I didn't realise that.
That's what the chat's saying in the PSGL Discord. I would have been, if I was, I'd be immediately retiring from the race.
I've just seen I've had a look at the Discord. If you're not in it, it's very funny. That's all I can say. But, yeah, that is qualifying done. It finished about 10 minutes ago. But anywho, it is Silo and Snacks on the front row once again. in the order that they have been on previous occasions. It's Silo with the form, won 3 of the last 4, on pole ahead of Snacks. Lawrence in P3 ahead of Oxazita with Polymaki 5th. Durkis, Gokalevi, Melwood with a good lap when the conditions weren't at their best. Max Bricker and Tico, your top 10. Reigning champion Volakongan going from 11th, only their second appearance of the season. White Sheep, Jaden, Matt, Zane, Ray Wintz, Leggy, Phil and Seeb, your 19 runners. What's the team that's only got one driver? I believe it's Haas, looking at that, and yes it is. We've only got Max Bricker, which isn't particularly good news for Haas because in the Constructors' Championship, they are last. They're not disconnected at the back, but they haven't scored points in any of the last 5 and only have 7 total. So
yeah, but
not
10
ideal.
Drivers lost to that Haas. You've just lost to the gritty Haas.
Don't even start. Don't even start with that.
Love that meme.
Don't even.
But yes, just one Haas driver tonight. The other one, unfortunately, is unable to show up tonight. And I do believe that was Kevin Zunneberg.
Yeah, Kevin Zunneberg's usually been pretty good with attendance. I didn't see what the reason that we don't have the second Haas in, but it is a rarity that we don't have Kevin Zunneberg. But we are on the grid. The weather has improved. I can see the sun just poking through the sky and the clouds just in the distance on the horizon, but still a little bit of cloud cover and overcast weather. And this turn 1 at La Source always throws up some kind of carnage. One of the shortest runs,
Yes.
but usually
Just like
has,
Las Vegas.
yes, the biggest of impacts. Strategy-wise, should be a standard one-stop. Unless we have safety cars, which have been few and far between. But we did have one last week, which did make for some fairly interesting strategical calls. Can we go back-to-back? I don't remember the last time we had back-to-back safety cars. I don't even think we've had back-to-back safety cars on the F125 game. At least in this split. We might have had it
We
in previous
had
splits.
like 1 or 2, I'm sure. We had one in the first round. We had one in the last round. I'm sure it was either the last round or the one before. And it is an AI, I'm afraid. Bern Mailander is unfortunately unable to work for PSGL due to logistical reasons. He obviously would be mostly coming back from races and he'd get a good lie down for a few days, then back to work and all. So we are waiting for a few minutes to get everyone a bit of lag time to get prepared and all. Of course, for sake of fairness, as you can see, all the garages being littered out with the team kit. It looks like a nice classic old garage. And of course, they just put the F1 stuff over it when the weekend's on. They usually have 2 each though, when they're in action. Well, I remember watching a clip of the I think it was the Turkish, or a picture of the Turkish one, and I believe after the 2011 race, or it might be the Indian one, I think they still had the F1 drivers' names and teams on it. Oh, actually, we're underway.
We are. 5 red lights ahead of the drivers. Short run down to turn 1, but carnage aplenty. Silo on the left, Snacks on the right. Championship leader. We are racing for the Belgian Grand Prix. Snacks already ducking and weaving underneath the rear wing of the pole sitter, and Silo misses his braking work, but there's a little bit of contact between the 2 championship protagonists. However, all is well right at the sharp end as Lawrence and Polymaki hot-footing it after the 2 leaders. The slipstream fest will begin now. I believe White Sheep and a Scott Kalevi, yes, side by side through a Rouge and Radion. I think the Ferrari took a trip off the road, but keeps it and keeps 7th place within his grasp. Silo in the middle of the road. It's Lawrence on the inside. Snacks looking for the opportunity. Doesn't have the overspeed. It's Polymaki very close with Odsazito behind them. Odsazito back of the car, stepping out ever so slightly. Just puts Polymaki slightly wide, going through Malmedy, and allows Dirk to fly to the inside of Rivage as well.
Fight everywhere, all at once. It is a slugfest out there at the start of the lap. White Sheep with the Skokalevi still going at it, and now Polymaki is going to be a victim of White Sheep. Where has White Sheep got this pace from? Oh yeah, he's on the medium tyre. He started in 12th, now he's up to 6th. He's going to try and get aggressive from the get-go and see if it pans out.
Whoa, Jaden to the inside.
Jaden, where did that come from? What a move. He's up into 9th. It was pretty clean as you get with that. That is a very rare moment to do that, but it seems to have worked. Skokalevi is now down to 10th. He was having a good start. He was battling White Sheep, but now he's down to 10th. 6th place is White Sheep, and he's right behind Dirk. He's wasting no time getting along this. Dirk probably in doubts of the championship now at this rate, and now he's going to be chasing his teammate Otsuzito soon enough, as the leaders are just going in a nice and orderly fashion. No dramas at the moment, as there's Volakongan and Skokolevi battling, of course, the reigning champion. Won't be for long, no. I don't think he can win the championship at all. And we need to be 51 points left, and he's not even 51 points behind because, of course, I think he was just filling in the numbers. But it's good to see him back at least. See if we can get some big points here tonight.
Had a strong race last week, finished inside the podium places. Tico to the pits at the end of lap 1 for a set of the brand new soft compound tyres. Must have been damaged. The lead could be changing hands. Back to the front. Championship leader surging forward. Silo bumped down to second. And that is the first change in hands between the two main championship protagonists, with Lawrence desperately trying to cling onto the coattails of the leading duo. Yellow flag is out. That is for Tico coming out of the pits. Dropped it straight away. Bad start on the brand new tyres. Ray went up to 13th at the expense of Matt, but White Sheep on those medium tyres ain't no stopping him now. On the move and in the groove. Surely we don't think about it to the inside of Puon. Don't quite have the overlap. And actually the back of the car just taking too much curve, falling off the road.
Yeah, he's lost a bit of time from that one, but he's going to try and gain it back in these next few corners. He has a huge pace advantage coming through every corner. Wait, I thought that was rain for a second, but just excuse me for a second. I thought, oh, and don't know what happened to Tico there. He's got a 10-second penalty. He must have went right across Lecom. I don't think this is looking any better for Tico. I think his race may be run here. But White Sheep now closing up for Tico. He's got another corner.
I think Tico's going to be giving up fairly shortly. I think Tico's going to be jumping out of that. Must have had damage on the opening lap, and this is just effectively a parade lap for himself. Lawrence still 0.8 per second off the back of Silo, with Otsuzito for company and White Sheep for company as well. Dirk needs to make sure he doesn't drop out of the 1 second window. No brakes in the DRS train as yet, and it is critical that drivers that are just on the cusp make sure they keep within the 1 second window of the car in front. So it's Dirk that's just going to be clawing at the gap in front of him. 9.5 of a second will get the DRS lap open down the Kemmel straight, but needs to try and up his pace just a little bit more. Look at White Sheep with a run here. Otsuzito has DRS, but he's going to be able to do jot about it. Otsuzito in the middle of the road, but that, like you say, a non-contest. White Sheep to the outside. There's the third 10-second penalty for Tico for corner cutting. I think 60 seconds is the most you can get in a 50% race. And there, we've retired. Is that in the pits? I'm not 100% sure. Hopefully we get no safety car. And that is Tico done. So we're down to 19 after effectively just 1 lap.
Newsflash, Leeds are 2-0 up at Old Trafford against Manchester United. Crazy stuff. And this is the third place team in the table. Yeah, I predict a riot. White Sheep is at 4th place right now. The only other medium tyre runner, because Tico's gone, is Leggy in the Ferrari. He's down in 16th at the moment and is struggling to get any pace because Steve and Phil, of course, started right at the back. So, but White Sheep is the man with the pace, with the tyres, and with the strategy. Flipped her over, down under, and he'll be pitting earlier than these gentlemen in the hards, which is currently led by Snatsk and Silo following him. 22 laps, of course. 152.5 kilometers, should be around 45 minutes, more or less a few seconds. What's up?
The Vardinator, that's one of the best comments I've ever seen. They need Eric Jemba back on. What expert ball knowledge from yourself there, sir?
I thought I was bad at football.
Bad at football? Wow. Eric Jemba. I mean, I think it's kind to call him a Barclays man because he hardly played, but big fan of that shout. Lawrence, 1 second, the gap between himself and Silo does still have the DRS. Silo, just for the moment, dips out to the inside. Dirk as well, under the cosh. I don't think he had DRS down the Kemmel straight. Needs to try and get back within 1 second of his teammate. Otherwise, the two Mercedes, the two Silver Arrows, will be lapping that one up as Dirk falls further and further away from the leading quintet. Still no official breaks in the DRS train, but we are getting very close. Volakongan as well. Another driver right on the cusp of maybe falling away.
Lap 4 of 22. Snats could win the title tonight. but not as it stands. But he would have pretty much one hand on the trophy. He'd be 29 points ahead. Of course, Silo got the point for the fastest lap in qualifying. There's no fastest lap in the race, just for finishing first. Silo has been closing up. In fact, as we have said, he's won 3 of the last 4, which are the only starts he has made. But he's going to be taking a back step from making moves for a while. In fact, no one's been making moves. Not even White Sheeper, I think, is going to start to struggle.
Medium tyres already subpar, definitely. The hard tyres in the ascendancy. Otsazito was strong last week, was on the alternate strategy, romped back through after the early safety car put him on the back foot, put in a commendable effort despite only coming through in P6 in his first appearance of the season. But this is a multiple race winner from season 41. Otsazito, high caliber driver, and should be taking 4th place off the hands of White Sheep with the helping hand of DRS. This should be elementary, my dear friend. No advantage of the rear wing flap for the Sauber, and that is as straightforward as it gets. And Dirk fancying a piece of the action as well. This could be a couple of places lost for the wounded Sauber. Medium tyres not good. Dirk throws it to the inside of the Lecombe chicane. Inside turns to the outside. Will then be the inside again for turn 7 of Malmedy. There's contact there. A wiggle for White Sheep over the curb, and Dirk will help himself to that one. Maybe giving a helping hand slightly wide. Polymaki looking to get involved as well as Otsazito scampers off into the distance. But those medium compound tyres definitely falling by the wayside.
Yeah, now it's going to be a question of when is he going to pit. As something's happened to Matt. He's went off the track.
Been in the wall.
I think he's went in the wall. And now he's right at the bottom of the pack. As Polymaki's closing up. Oh, White Sheep struggling through the chicane. And should be past any moment soon. Is he in a pit now? Well, I don't think pitting now.
Way too early.
I think, yeah, lap 8. But he is going to be feeling the cons of going on medium tyres to start. And that is, of course, going to be losing the positions he just gained. But he is obviously throwing the spanner in the works by going obverse of everyone's strategy. So the 2 Mercedes drivers are going to have to work together. See if we can maximise the damage inflicted to White Sheep as they are about to pass him. 1.1 seconds actually the gap between the 2 recarbs, 4th and 5th, so we need to do some catching up, I imagine, if your name is Dirk. But here we go. What is Polymaki going to pull off here? Oh, he's got much more pace out of Radion. And this should be the nice little switch back. I'll get that position back, thank you very much. And oh, nearly collided there. That would have been disgusting. He was nicely through. And next up will be Melvin.
Lead changing hands as well while that was going on. Silo, regulationary pass with the DRS to take it off the hands of Snacks. Going defensive down into Rivage, out of control. Melvin Effman to the outside, tried to find the space. Little bit of side-to-side contact, and that just put Mercedes offline and out of kilter. But still, really perusing up to the back of that Sauber, pushing him through no-name corner, but not in a position to slide it down the inside of Puon. So White Sheep will live to fight another day, but he's really fanning out these cars now. With the time that's being lost on those mediums, just pushing that group behind further and further back. We're seeing these gaps forming now as one by one they get past White Sheep, but they seemingly can only do it down the Kemmel Straight.
Seems like it, so it's only a matter of time until Melvin gets that position back. Volakongan is right behind Jaden, 1/4 second separating the 2. Volakongan, the reigning champion, of course. Jaden in the Williams, the stealth black Williams front. Which actually looks pretty cool. Did they ever have a black livery? 2011, I guess. But who cares? And here he comes, Volakongan on the outside. He'll have the inside of the second half of the bus stop. And he's side by side now. Jaden seems like he has more speed out of the corner. And they're going to charge into La Source. It's going to be Volakongan on the outside. But is he going to get some room? Yes, he is. Albeit just that he's going to have more speed out of the corner, and he's going to keep Jaden at bay. Pretty good defensive
look in front. That's
Volakongan.
Melvin through. Wow. Up throw, Rouge and Radion putting some manners on the Sauber, and the reigning champion fancies a piece of the action as well. Already pulled off one superb overtake on Jaden. This one should be much more straightforward, but White Sheep going to fight it, is he? No, can't hold it around the outside. into the Lacombe chicane. Melwin Efferman, hats off, that was superb. Volokongan 2 into the bus stop, picking the pocket of Jaden, who now has to try and force his way past the fading Sauber of White Sheep.
Yes, indeed, fantastic move. And now Volokongan's right in the back of Melvin, who actually made a mistake out of Lacombe. And look how close these drivers are. Skoka Levy is about to join the fun too. Jaden is going to have to try and get his past as soon as possible if he wants to keep in the fight and try and get that position back off Volokongan. He just lost at La Source, my word, right behind the gearbox is Jaden on White Sheep. Coming to the next few set corners to end the second sector. Man, they're going to have a right real tussle when they get to that, I tell you. Jaden.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
How interesting will it be?
Very, I think. We saw Jaden was punchy on the opening lap, chucked it to the inside of the Fanier chicane. I can't remember who it was on. Might have been a Skoka Levy, to be fair, sat behind them. So Jaden clearly is comfortable with late braking manoeuvres, doesn't want it into the bus stop chicane, and White Sheep will still have the DRS do the duo in front. The problem is, because they were fighting so hard, Melwin Efferman now 2 seconds off the back of his teammate, and that secondary chasing group going to have to work hard to get back into contention. The same with Odsazito, who's fallen away. Lawrence has actually done a good job of clinging on to that leading duo.
Yeah, they're going to have to create what they call in cycling a peloton of sorts. They want to try and get some overtaking tactics out of the way. I'm sure they can get that lost time back as you see them approaching the Camel Straight, where all the fans stand. I believe that's all general admission, which is beautiful. More general admission in Formula 1, please. Don't care how bad the views are. I've went all 3 races I went to have general admission, and Monza actually has stands, unlike Silverstone for the general admission, so that's cool.
It is two of the most legendary circuits, along with the place that we're currently racing at. Still Silo in the lead, the pole sitter taking it back a few laps ago from Snacks, who passed him on the second lap of the Grand Prix. Lawrence still in the equation as well. 2 seconds then. Back to the 2 V-cars with Polymaki just at the tail of that trio also. And then it's this queue. Melwin Efferman, who's dropped Volokongan out of DRS, who in turn has dropped White Sheep out of DRS as well. And Jaden tucked up underneath the rear wing of the Sauber. This is only going to be a matter of time, either until the Sauber peels off into the pits or Jaden manages to muscle his way through. Will it be into the bus stop? I'm not 100% sure, because then you won't get the helping hand of DRS down the main straight and crucially down the Kemmel straight as well. But Jaden might just have to be patient here, hold that thought as he gains up towards the bus stop, but no, doesn't throw it to the inside. Just behind them though, Ray Wintz with a big dive bomb to the inside. Into the pits goes White Sheep, but that is superbly done by Ray Wintz, just catching Max Bricker slightly unawares, and that is 11th place now handed over to the Aston Martin. Good move.
Nice sneak attack from Ray Wintz. He's now one off the points paying positions. Of course, you get 16 points for the win, 12 for second, 10 for third, 8 for fourth, and then 5th to 10th get 6 to 1 on a sliding scale. Through Orud they come now, and Ray Vince's next victim, opponent, will be Skoka Levy, who's going to be fighting with a DRS-less RC Jaden, and through he goes. But is there going to be a move from Max Bricker? No is the answer to that question. That means he'll be sticking behind him through Lacombe.
Ooh, tail snap for Jaden coming through the Lacombe chicane. Doesn't have to go defensive into virage, but was a little bit scuppered by White Sheep boxing, wasn't he? That allowed a Skoka Levy to just breeze past with the helping hand of the DRS. They can now try and chase after Melwin and Volokongan in front, who have opened that gap up a little bit more to 1.5 seconds as a Skoka Levy takes a trip off the road there through Puon. Should be the first, maybe, corner cutting warning, though I think that's not the first time the Ferrari's been off the road, so that might even be a second warning for a Skoka Levy, and now will be treading on eggshells for the rest of the race. Raywin struggling to keep up with that duo in front as Max Bricker pushed into Zane further back in the battle for 12th and 13th. McLaren's detached a long way back. Phil and C battling amongst themselves, really.
It's like, is it 2022 or 2023 McLaren when they were miles off the pace and they finished like P17, P18? That's what it feels like right now, but then again, this is nothing to do with the car performance. They are all equally fair and balanced. Just make sure it's all about driver skill.
Big double lockup for Melwin Efferman into last source. Good exit though. Manages to set it up nicely, but yeah, under the cosh here because the reigning champion, who didn't qualify particularly well, just starting to make up some ground. That is Leggy, the second retiree in the pits. Didn't fancy it. Melwin could be defenceless here. Good run for Volakongen in the slipstream. Maybe a little bit of ERS usage as well. And that is fairly easy for the Alpine. Same as well for the Williams of Jaden. Deja vu from the previous lap, just rolls reversed. Jaden now up ahead of Escoca Levy. Then come the two Aston Martins as Zane disposes of Max Bricker.
Yeah, routine move from Zane. Now he's behind his teammate, 6/10 up the road. Lead still Silos. Head off Snacks. This would be a crucial win for Silo. He was 4th and 5, and he would close the gap by another 3 points. He's already 4 points. He'd close the gap 5 points tonight and would be within 21, but would still need a few more points if he ought to be in title contention. He's pretty much got to hope for a miracle, i.e. Snats making mistakes. That's not easy to do in this sport.
Yeah, Snacks has been so consistent so far this season. Yet to finish outside the top 5, and with 5 podiums in the 7 races so far. So he is going to be betting on some miraculous occurrences to befall, some dramas and some maladies to befall the championship leader in this remaining, well, 2.5 races that we've got left now. 0.6 per second still the margin out in front. Lawrence clinging on to the coattails of the leading duo. 2 seconds the gap back to the Racing Bulls and Polly Mackey. Nearly 3 seconds the gap back to the reigning champion, with Melwin still in hot pursuit and Jaden and Escoca Levy now 2 seconds almost off the back of this little duo. And we're just getting pockets of drivers now after they fanned out and were spread out by White Sheep as he fell off a cliff pace-wise with those ailing medium tyres. We now just got small clusters of drivers. We've got 1st down to 3rd, 4th down to 6th, 7th and 8th, and then that secondary chasing group outside of the leading contenders.
Yes, we do. They're all split into different factions. I'd say that there. Escoca Levy is through just at the end of the Kemmel Straight, getting past Jaden and now up into P9. A little update on White Sheep. He is still speeding along. 2 laps on these hards. This will see him to the end, as the hard tyre runners are just about to lose their pace, you'd imagine, and then they'll go on the mediums. And Matt is going to have to pit again, I'd imagine. Those tyres are not going to last 17 laps.
No. I would find it unlikely. Matt, obviously with a drama going through No Name Corner, missing almost the entirety of that left-hand side of the front wing, whether it was self-inflicted or whether there was a bit of contact that gave me a helping hand into the wall. Unfortunate for Matt, and didn't have the rub of the green last week either in Singapore, so we'll be hoping that the tables can turn next time out in Saudi Arabia, as Escoca Levy trying to scamper off into the distance, leave Jaden in his wake. This will be where you're using the battery to try and drop them out of the DRS, but it's so difficult to do on this F125 game. And Jaden, I think, has managed to keep tabs on the Ferrari in front in this battle for 9th and 10th. We're on lap 12 of the Belgian Grand Prix, past the Fulcrum point, past half distance. Tongue twister, that is. Past half distance. As Seeb, first of the hard tyre runners to make a regulation pit stop just past half distance. First of the McLarens to jump in as well. And in fact, scratch that, it's a retirement. So we're down to 16 now.
Anywhere. Yeah, poor for Seeb. Unlucky in qualifying, never got anywhere in the race, so he's decided to bow out at the halfway point as Max Bricker, as Escoca Levy loses the position just gained last time. Max Bricker is not going to be able to pass Zane at the moment. Top 3 are still bunched up by separated by 6/10 each. There seems to be any movement there though. There's another threesome of the 2 V-carbs and Paul Mackey, separated by essentially the same gap. And then you've got 7th and 8th, separated by 7/10, while Congan, the reigning champion, and Melvin Efferman. Although it's pretty much open season 9th and below, this is for the final points paying position, so very important if you want some points.
Yeah, there's a lot of DRS sharing and DRS swapping going on at the moment as well, as that is wild from Jaden going through Stavilo, pushing very hard to try and close the gap to Efferman in front, but losing the back of the car, dipping a couple of wheels into the gravel, and that cools that assault and will bring him back towards the pack behind. But the two Racing Bulls swapping places down the Kemmel Straight. Dirk now ahead of Otsazito as they trade blows and try and share the DRS to keep tabs on the leading trio, who have managed to escape and they haven't made any inroads recently. Again, Jaden struggling with oversteer, this time over-rotating through the bus stop chicane. Skokalevi and now Ray Wintz tucked up underneath the rear wing of the Williams, and this could be double trouble for Jaden down the Kemmel Straight. Will be happy to lose one place to Skokalevi as they share the DRS to close up to Volokongen and Melwin Efferman in front, but dropping behind the Aston Martin as well would be summarised as unideal. So we'll see how this plays out through Eau Rouge and Radion. Fairly certain the Ferrari will blast past once again, but is Ray Wintz close enough, and does Ray Wintz want to make this pass? Jaden not going to make it difficult for the Ferrari, and no, that is the battery switched off for the Aston Martin. Not interested at all. As now Ferrari, Williams, Aston Martin in this little trio with Zane just in the back of shot. They're locking up into the Lacombe chicane.
So, 10 laps to go here at the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. Seems like it's gone very quickly. Well, it has. There are only 22 laps because of how long this track is. Silo still leading Snatsk and Lawrence, who have pretty much remained in the top three throughout. Pit stops are imminent though. Is the undercut going to be performed by either Snack or Lawrence? Can Dirk and Otsazito try and make up some time to the leading trio? Well, we're about to find out in the next few laps.
Will indeed. We are getting to the point where they'll be thinking about pit stops. They'll also be thinking as Jaden dips another couple of wheels into the gravel going through Stavilo, and that could drop him outside the 1 second window of the Skokalevi if he doesn't get his skates on. But they will be thinking about how quickly those medium tyres fell off the pace, as that is Snacks, the race leader, or the championship leader I should say, the first to jump into the pit, so he bites the bullet. Silo and Lawrence continue onwards, as do the Racing Bulls. Volokongen reigning champion in, along with Melwin Efferman. And Skokalevi fancy some new tyres as well. And for the first time, the punch is pulled in the strategy game. Cards laid down on the table. How will this undercut play out? Important for Volokongen and Melwin Efferman in particular to try and close up on the trio that were in front of them. About 3 seconds, 3.5 seconds was the gap to Dirk, Otsazito and Polymaki. Going to really have to get their skates on this outlap to make some serious inroads.
So the warning shot's being fired by Snatsk, and Silo knows he has some work to do. He's got to have a fantastic in-lap if he's to pull away from Silo, pull away from Snatsk. I hope that he's played his cards right. Lawrence, he's got to do some work as well. He's not closed up to Silo after Snatsk is pitted, so... And I'm surprised none of the drivers in 3rd, 4th and 5th pitted. I thought they would try and take advantage of the undercut, but it seems like they're just staying in as it now. Dirk and Otsazito will not be pitting together because that would be a double stack for Otsazito and it compromises race. Well, all he has to do is not pit, because Dirk will be going in first.
Otsazito could lose quite a lot of time with that though, having to pit at the end of lap 15. And that could drop him maybe even outside of that little group. Opportunity for Polymaki, definitely an opportunity for Volokongen and Melwin Efferman as they take chunks of time out of White Sheep in the middle sector. Remember, White Sheep started on the mediums, has got an undercut on these drivers, but not really in the same race. Are they? Silo goes again. Wow.
Lawrence is in though. I'd expect Lawrence to come in now. He is 22 seconds ahead of White Sheep, and I expect Snats to cruise through. And he has done.
Silo's going to be once again, and we've seen it a number of times this season, Silo going for the overcut, going for the tyre offset to try and hunt down Snacks in the latter stages. Lawrence spat out of the pits equidistant to Max Bricker in front and Phil behind, who's yet to stop. There's Otsazito. There is White Sheep with Volokongen and Melwin Efferman in hot pursuit. 1.5 seconds off the back of the Racing Bulls. These two needs to get a crack on here to try and maybe get within the 1 second window of Otsazito, but Volokongen needs to think not just about the Sauber but the Mercedes behind as well. DRS for the Alpine Alpine pulls out to the middle of the circuit. White Sheep not making it easy, as into the back of the Sauber goes Melwin Efferman, in two minds maybe about sending it to the inside. Volokong and the reigning champion through. Melwin saying, come on, get on with it, as he pushes him through Malmedy. Gets out of shape over the curb on the outside. We'll have to sit and watch and wait behind once more.
Don't be so pushy, you might break his front wing. Anyway, Lawrence has lost 4 seconds to Lawrence. That's the gap now. Snats gets 4 seconds ahead of Lawrence. Lawrence did seemingly not have a great in-lap. So now he's behind Max Bricker, who is yet to pit.
That undercut has been incredibly strong. Snacks gets past Ray Winsk on the run-up into Blanchimont corner. Melwin Efferman still trapped behind White Sheep, now 2 seconds off the back of Volokongen as the pole sitter and race leader pits, along with Dirk, along with Polly Mackey, but we're still watching the sister Silver Arrow of Melwin Efferman, who came in on the previous lap, but this has really cost him an opportunity to challenge, maybe with his teammate and maybe with Volokongen as well. Into the bus stop, still caught behind White Sheep. Silo exiting the pits. Volokongen with the fastest lap of the race. Silo will be behind Lawrence, although it'll be touch and go. There goes the Alpine through. Phil still yet to box with Dirk tucked up underneath the rear wing of the McLaren. No, sorry, that's Ossazito with the reigning champion Volokongen to deal with. This has worked out beautifully for the Alpine. Got himself in between the two Racing Bulls and got a shout at maybe picking up 4th place in this race, as Ossazito with the DRS should dispose of Phil. But he's using a little bit of ERS, maybe some lower wings as well. And now the McLaren pulls out of the way. Volokongen allowed to roll on through as the white flag is raised. Then comes Dirk. Polly Mackey just ahead of Melwin Efferman, who finally gets past White Sheep, but it's a lap too late.
Fire battle for 8th place happening here. The two Mercedes trying to fend off White Sheep, who has obviously the weaker tyres, but they won't be in a few laps. Tell you, these medium tyres at the beginning of the race, you saw them, they didn't last too long. But Snatsk, actually Silo, will probably be wondering how fast is Smat's tyres diminishing, as I do believe Dirk is ahead of Phil. Phil is yet to pit, which is surprising. He's the only driver yet to pit, and he's holding up Polly Mackey. This is not what the Silver Arrows were wanting, and this is going to give a chance for White Sheep to strike back here if it keeps going. But the lead now, as Silo is past Lawrence at Blanchimont. He's got the much better pace as Silo, and he's going to be hunting down Snatsk, who obviously pitted at a pretty good time. But is it going to work out come the end of the race?
This could get interesting into the bus stop. Melwin Efferman tucked up behind Phil, who's just been overtaken by Polly Mackey. Again, the McLaren stays out. Melwin Efferman catching traffic at exactly the wrong points on the racetrack. We'll have to go the long way round into La Source. Will Phil fight this to the inside, or will he make Melwin work for it? Bit of contact, front right to front left of the Mercedes and the McLaren. But Melwin Efferman is through. Does he have the DRS to Polly Mackey in front? I think he will do, and will have that safety net. Further forward, Otsazito, Volokongen, Dirk with a good run through Rouge and Radion. Defence, well, it might be attack for Volokongen because Dirk is right there. We look maybe 3 wide just for a moment. Otsazito run out of road going through the Lake Com chicane. Tried to keep his foot in it to the outside. Allows his teammate into the fight. Dirk with an opportunity. Little bit of side-to-side contact. The two teammates going at it. Into the back of Volokongen goes Dirk on the inside. The reigning champion trying to get away from the charging Bulls behind. It's Ossazito 5th, it's Dirk in 6th, then Polly Mackey behind in 7th. Still not done as they run down the hill into Puon. But Volokongen is through, and he's managed to dispose of the warring V-Carbs.
Charging Bulls, that would have been a great name change for this season. Anyway, that's Volokongen up to 4th now, so we've got a 3rd and 4th Alpine, and a 5th and 6th Ossazito and Dirk in the V-Carbs, as Max Bricker has just got a penalty. So they're going to be fighting for 4th place. That battle's going to go right on. But Silo is getting a lot of pace. He's now 2.6 seconds down on Snatch, and he's going to try and get the win here. And Lawrence will still be in this battle as well, because he's right behind him, and he's keeping behind with the DRS. But as you can see, Silo with the much better race pace, charging away already, as there is a fight between the two Aston Martins for 13th and 14th in the bus stop.
Oh, Dirt to the inside into La Source. Ottazito saw it coming late Sen, and he lights up the rear tyres on the exit and has to hand 5th place back over to his teammate. Might make Otsuzito's life a little bit harder if he tries to dispose of Volokongan up the hill, who has the oldest tyres of everybody, bar Melwin Efferman, who is just coming over the crest of the hill now. Polymaki's cruised up to the back of this trio to make it a quartet. What happens down the Kemmel Straight? Otsuzito just moving to the inside. Dirk tries to follow in the footsteps of his teammate. Volokongan slams the door in his face as Polymaki's lurking to try and pick up the scrap from any maladies that befall the drivers in front. Still, Dirk not done with this, to the inside of Rivage. Reigning champion's got to get his elbows out. He's forced the issue there, Dirk, as he muscles his way through, but again, lights up the rear tyres in the traction zone, and we're side by side again going through no-name corner, but Dirk pulls it off and puts the reigning champion in his back pocket.
I'm surprised no damage was done there. Great racing from all. Yeah, a bit elbowy, but it was still fun to watch. Now Polymaki's going to try and get past Volokongan, the reigning champion, and he collides with him and gets tapped around. He's going to collide with him again, going into the next position. That's contact between the two. Still Polymaki going around the outside. More contact going out of the second sector, and they're still going at it, but it looks like Volokongan will have to concede. Polymaki has the superior pace, and now he'll be chasing down the two V-carbs for 4th and 5th respectively.
2 lap fresher tyres. That was the grip advantage for Polymaki as the reigning champion goes from 4th to 7th in the space of 1 lap. Otsuzito helping himself. Dirk muscling his way through. Same for Polymaki. Now Melwin Efferman to deal with as well. This is Jaden around the outside of Phil, trying to keep tabs on Escocalevi in front. Ray Wintz in the thick of the battle as well. Phil still going, yet to stop on those hard compound tyres. Zane needs to try and pull through also. Gap out in front has been slashed in half. Phil to the inside into Lassource, makes contact with Ray Wintz, but it's Jaden that's out. He's fallen off the circuit. Tony Hawking over the sausage curb, and Ray Wintz says thank you very much. I'm up into P11.
I love you use the phrase Tony Hawking.
Racing balls as well, by the way. This is Dirk to the outside. He's going to take 4th place off the hands of his teammate.
Yeah, he has. I was going to say, as we have a battle for Jaden, or is that going to be Ray Wintz? It is going the inside of the Ferrari. He's going to get past the Ferrari. Very nicely done. Snatched it at the end of the column. He thought he was safe, but this is a huge battle for the point. They all really want that 1 point. Phil is not in this, by the way. Phil is just acting as a spoiler. He is not pitted yet. You have to pit or you'll be disqualified. So legally, he nearly collides with Zane there as well. He is not legally bound to get this point because he has not pit. He has been out for that entire race on those tyres, so he'll be getting nothing from this. So Silo right behind, he's within DRS range of Snatch. This is for the win. Lawrence is not close enough, but if there's some squabbling at the top 2, because this is for the championship, Lawrence could try and capitalise in this situation if there is an incident. The two V-carbs who have battled so brilliantly are still 4th and 5th. The two Mercedes are surrounding Volokongan in 7th place. There are going to be 3 laps left as we cross the line to start the first of these final 3. In the inside goes Snatch, down towards Eau Rouge coming up, and Silo following in tow. 6/10 is the gap.
Opportunity. 3 laps to try and get it done. 2 lap fresher tyres on the rampaging bull that's chasing after the Williams in front. Less than half a second. It was 3.5 seconds when Silo came out of the pits, eroded down to nothing. But Silo out of the slipstream doesn't want to make it happen just yet. And these two championship protagonists that have gone at it, hammer and tong, over the last few weeks, retain the status quo, with the championship leader still ahead of the pole sitter. But you get the feeling it might be a foregone conclusion. Silo just needs to pick his moment.
Yeah, he has to. He's got to also consider the possibility of Lawrence coming behind him. He's trying to close the gap. It's only 1/8 though. If Silo just basically bump draft Snacks, it helps the both of them and they'll get away from the 3rd place driver. That's not happening. The gap is falling to 1/6 between 2nd and 3rd. This could be a freeway battle for the win if he's not careful. This would be something. But there is a big battle happening for 4th. And there's also a big battle happening for that final point, but it looks like Ray Wintz is trying to run away and stop them from getting any points below.
Still, this battle for the lead rages on through Corporal Frere, less than 0.4 of a second, separating Snacks and Silo, 1st and 2nd on the road. 1st and 2nd in the championship. Might be about to be 2nd and 1st from Snacks' perspective. Has he got anything left to fight with? 2 lap fresher tyres on the racing, charging, rampaging Red Bull behind. Snack slightly deep into the bus stop chicane. Looks weak here. This could be 4 wins out of 5 for Silo, who's the form horse as we start the penultimate lap. 3.5 seconds down to nothing in the space of 6 laps. And Silo through La Source just needs to get the exit right, and he has done absolutely perfectly, planting the loud pedal. This should be regulation area up towards Eau Rouge and Radion. There is nothing Snacks can do. The championship leader might have to settle for another second place to add a whole load of points to his championship kitty, but Silo once again to the outside. Silo with the DRS, and this should be 4 wins out of 5 for the Red Bull driver as he blasts past.
Now he has to worry about Lawrence. He is on more superior tyres than Snatsk. So if he wants to keep this championship lead high, he's got to hope that Lawrence doesn't come up close and overtake him too. The VCARB still battling for 4th. It looks like the battle for the final points paying position has calmed down at best. And it looks like Ray Wins is going to hold on for the final point. White Sheep, is the strategy has not really done him much wonders. He's in 9th place right now, and he did start in 12th, so at least he has gained some positions from where he started. Oh no, Melvin's got a penalty! He's going to lose a couple of places there if he's not careful. He won't go out of the points unless the Skoka levy closes up, but Melvin is going to lose 2 points.
Oh, he's all over the place!
My word! He's trying to hold on so much. If he's not careful, he might be out of this race with no points.
Rear tyre screaming for a bit of mercy. Almost dropped it through No Name. Almost dropped it through Puon. Picked up a corner cutting infringement. Then did the same out of the Fagnier chicane. As we start the final lap of the race, Silo has pulled clear out in front. 1.1 seconds now the margin ahead of Snacks. The championship leader will be getting ever closer to picking up the Season 42 championship, but once again I think he's going to have to play second fiddle to Silo, who has come through, started from pole position, had to work hard for it, but should take this 4th win of the season.
So no challenge for Silo, he is running away, and no challenge for Snats either. Lawrence is just too far back. We're going to be watching the battle for 4th. Polymaki, Volakongen have closed up, and they're looking for blood. Can there be any moves? Oh, he's not going to have any traction, but he is going to be attacked by Polymaki.
Otsazito's out of battery. Wow. Didn't expect that.
That's not what you want. The DRS did give him a bit of closing up, but unfortunately, he's not got anywhere near. He's going to have fun with the 26 game, I tell you. Wait, there is no 26 game. Oh dear, that was not good.
It'll be coming in due course. This battle, though, not finished. Otsazito with no ERS left, having to work extremely hard to hold on to P5 as his teammate checks out in front to secure a P4 finish. Can the two V-cars make it a 4-5? Volakongen still right in this battle as well. One more lap and Snacks might be dropping behind Lawrence as the Alpine gets within 1 second. As it is, the championship leader should add another big total of points to his championship kitty, but he has been second best. Silo started from pole, got the strategy right. The overcut was the card to play once more. As he comes up towards the bus stop chicane for the final time. Supreme from Silo once more. It'll be a 4th win of the season, a 4th win in 5 starts. And by 2.5 seconds, Silo masters Spa. Snacks and Lawrence completing your podium places. Polymaki can't quite get close enough to Otsazito into the bus stop. Lawrence in 3rd. Dirk 4th ahead of Otsazito. And Polymaki, reigning champion, comes home in 7th. The penalties for Melwin Effman. Look at that, into the bus stop chicane. Effman into the wall. Raywin's trying to steal it over the line from White Sheep. They both beat out Melwin Effman with the penalty, but by 39 milliseconds, White Sheep holds on to 8th place as Zane has his front right tyre ripped from the car. Max Bricker behind Zane, Jane and Skoka-Levy missing out on points, and Phil, who did 21 of the 22 laps on a set of hard compound tyres, will come through to finish in 15th ahead of Matt. 20 laps, in fact. I think he's going for the fastest lap.
Yeah, I think so. So Ray Wood's the big winner there in terms of position. He started 16th, he got up to 9th, and was unlucky to go up, not to go up to 8th. White Sheep, of course, holding him off to that with that final battle as we wait for Matt to cross the line and finish in last.
Did he get the fastest lap? I'm not 100% sure. We saw that Phil picked it up at 15th and 16th. Phil and Matt, not exactly what they would have been hoping for.
And that will do it for this one.
Hopefully we're not just left with a black screen here, because we want CD Wars. There's the podium. Once again, Silo standing atop the podium places. Lawrence returning to the podium as well. Race winner goes to Silois. Fastest lap for Matzo. The Red Bulls do take that one. Driver of the day for Ray wins most overtakes for Phil. And Snacks with the cleanest driver if you're interested in those. But the top three started as they finished. 3.5 seconds separating them at the flag. With the two V-Carbs just behind. Polymac, another good haul of points for Mercedes. Volokong and the reigning champion. Second appearance of the season. Another decent result from White Sheep, who tried the alternate strategy and just managed to cling on to position 8 at the line with Ray wins 9th. And Melwin Effman rounding out the points paying positions after his late 3-second penalty. Skoka Levy, Jaden, Zane, Max Bricker, Phil and Matt, the other classified finishers. Sieb, Leggy and Tico failing to see the checkered flag.
Yeah, and it's actually not come up on my screen.
Has it not? That is frustrating, as my hair is. I was obviously stressed out watching that because we're looking at an absolute state. My days. Look at the hairline. That's it. But anyway, apart from my receiving this, good. You don't want anyone to see it. That is the Belgian Grand Prix. Another really exciting race. Been a really good run of form actually for racing action and quality battles going on. The championship might be a foregone conclusion, but another good battle out front. And once again, it has to be said, it's Silo coming out trumps.
Yeah, again, Silo showing why he is the fastest driver in the league. But of course, as he was a late comer, he doesn't have the advantage in the league. Of course, that is belonging to Snacks, who's been consistent again. Another top 5 finish, 8 in a row for him in this season. And it doesn't seem like to show any signs of slowing down. The gap is now reduced to 21 points. So, unless Silo gains at least 4 points over Snatsk, Snatsk will be the champion next week.
Yeah. The equation for Silo is clear. Got to win the race realistically. Snacks only finished off the podium twice, yet to finish lower than 5th. Anything other than a race win won't do, and he has to beat Snacks as well. If Snacks beats Silo, he is champion of season 42 with a race to spare. But it is Jeddah, it is Saudi Arabia, and you and I both know, Logan, that in season finales that can get a little bit hectic.
Yes, it is. We've seen that with Armateo winning it at the end last season. We've saw in other divisions where it was been decided in the final corner. And I do believe some have went to the steward's office and was reversed the championship at the end. But hopefully we don't have the end of the season being like, oh wait, it's in Jeddah. We're not hoping that it's blooming crash at the turn 27 again.
Oh God, imagine if we see it again. That could be fascinating. Thank you everybody for joining us on this Monday evening. Hopefully we gave you some good racing action. Before we go, make sure if you're looking to improve your performance on F125, check out Sim Racing Setups. They've got everything you could possibly need in the business, all available for £49.99 at the link in the description. That is simracingsetup.com, and you get a delightful 5% discount with the code PSGL at checkout. Next week in 7 days time, we will be starting the first part of our Middle Eastern doubleheader to round out season 41. Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi to finish this season. Last in the ground effect era, of course. But, Logan, before we head out, where can people find you on an internet if they want to see what you're up to?
On an internet? But what if they want to find me on a book like Astuf Movie?
Give him a book. Give him a book to read as well.
There it is. Otaku Logan. As you can see, the snooker on in the background, and my parents are speaking in the background too. As you can see,
no, we'll get copyright if you do that. Take that off the screen.
What?
Don't do that.
Right, copyrighted.
Have you not seen the streams where somebody watches F1 through somebody's sunglasses? We've got to capture them. That's how they do it. Make sure you check out Logan though on the socials, and if you're interested in what I'm doing, wilco.coms on Instagram and TikTok. But thank you, as I said, for joining us for another superb bit of PSGL. PSF1 racing action. We'll be back in 7 days' time for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix penultimate round of season 42. Hopefully you enjoy PC. They'll be coming at you later in the week as well. Until then, from myself and Logan, pleasure as always, and we will see you next week.